Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Rivera, and I'm going to do a talk today about going where you're not supposed to be. So I'm actually not supposed to be on the stage. I was invited only 2 days ago to be a TED speaker, so I'm definitely living up to these words. So most people in the startup community know me as the co-founder and CEO of Kalibrr. Hello. Okay. So what we did at Kalibrr was we raised $2 million from Silicon Valley on a PowerPoint presentation and a dream, and realizing that there was this really big problem with unemployment and underemployment here in the Philippines and around the world. Okay. Hello? Better? Okay. So most people know me as the founder of Kalibrr, right? Next slide. But my life wasn't always that prestigious. I was born in Dasmariñas, Cavite, to a 19-year-old unwed mother. My grandmother did not graduate from the 4th grade, right? So when you think about that kind of background, those types of people don't end up as CEOs or founders of startups from Silicon Valley. So like many Filipinos, we sought a greener pastures abroad, right? We went to San Francisco. I was 5 years old. It was 1988, and we moved there to seek a new and better life, right? We didn't come for much. We didn't have much when we moved there, and everything that we had, we really had to work for. And I remember, next slide. I was in middle school, and I had a problem, right? My mom would only buy me one pair of shoes per year, right? All of my friends, they had Air Jordans, they had LA Gears. They would get a new pair of shoes every 3 months. Not me. I had one pair, and it would have to last the whole year. And by the end of the year, my shoes looked pretty terrible, right? So I would ask my mom, "Mom, can you buy me another pair?" And she's like, "Anak, I can't. We don't have any money," right? So I began to realize very early on that if I wanted anything in life, I needed to work for it. And as soon as I could, I was 15 and a half years old, I got a job at Taco Bell, making tacos, working at the drive-thru, making minimum wage, but it allowed me to make some money and buy the things that I wanted. Next. And I began and learned very quickly that hard work manufactures opportunities. Hard work also creates opportunities to be lucky. Next. So I worked hard enough in high school to get into UC Berkeley. And Berkeley was an amazing experience. Berkeley was where I met my co-founder, Dexter Ligod-Gordon, who started Kalibrr with me a couple years ago. And I realized at Berkeley, and especially looking back now, that going into a school like this was very, very powerful. Next slide. And it's because of the people that I met there. It's because the networks that I built there at Berkeley continue to influence, shape, and power the life that I live today. So it's very, very important as you guys go down your own journeys that you plug in to the right networks, especially when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, because those networks that you plug into today are going to be the networks that will allow you to shape your world and your life tomorrow. So I graduated from Berkeley, and I wanted a good job, right? And a good job in 2004 was to work either in investment banking, consulting, or maybe in accounting. And I wanted to work at Accenture. And like two of my best friends, we all applied to be consultants. And those two guys got a job offer, and I didn't, right? I failed right after graduation. I failed at the job that I really wanted, and I was on the verge of graduating from Berkeley without a job. And I quickly realized that, failure is a part of the journey. Next, right? You will fail. It is part of the process of becoming successful. I speak to many young people who, experience a failure very early in life, and it traumatizes them to the point that they don't try harder and they don't try a new risk, right? Failure is a part of the journey, especially if you're an entrepreneur. So I failed at Accenture, and rather than trying to go get a consulting job, and being in the San Francisco and being in Silicon Valley, I realized maybe I should just work in high tech. So I worked for this startup called Mercantila. This is 2004, and we sold bunk beds and rowing machines, treadmills. You know, people were buying dog beds on the internet in 2004, and this is before Amazon really did this, right? So I worked in Silicon Valley. I worked for this e-commerce company, and all of a sudden, this company raises $22 million of venture funding, right? And they say, okay, we have this money, what do we do with it? We need to go and grow very quickly. And so they sent me, 21 years old, to Bangalore, India, to set up a BPO for them. Next. And the lesson that I learned there is that you gotta get on a plane whenever someone offers you a free ticket, right? And what does that mean? It means that when you have an opportunity to go abroad, to go outside of where you live and where you're comfortable, get on it. Broaden your horizons. What I saw in Bangalore, India, 10 years ago inspired me to eventually come back to the Philippines. So I got tired of working at that startup. I got tired of 18 months in Bangalore, India, and I quit and I went to a company called Google. And this is a real office, right? The offices are this magnificent. And I quickly realized that Google, as great as it was not where I wanted to be. It was too big, it was too corporate. It didn't allow me to be an entrepreneur there. Thanks. So after 6 months at Google, I quit, right? And I decided that I wanted to go back to the Philippines and start a call center. Why Philippines and call center? Because I saw what the call center industry was doing to India. It was transforming that economy from an agrarian economy to a knowledge-based society. The Philippines is going through that same transition, and I wanted to do that, right? So I left Google March of 2007, and I camped out at Starbucks Greenbelt 3 for a month, and that was my office, right? And systematically, over the next 5 years, I built a call center business. This is an early shot of that call center, and we set it up like Google, where you had no cubicles. It was just all open. And it was while building that call center business over the next 5 years, right, that I began to be bothered and inspired by something. What was I bothered by? Two problems. Number one, as a business person, it was hard to hire people with the skills that I wanted at the volume and velocity that I needed. Second was the social problem. And that social problem manifested itself when I would see young people in my office who went to a second or third tier school break down, beg for a job because they didn't have the right skills, but they had a college degree. I had 50 occurrences of that in 5 years where people spent a fortune to go to school, to graduate with a diploma, but they couldn't type. They couldn't write an email. They had issues with their pronunciation, right? We graduate 550,000 people from school every year. Only 11% of them have the right skills to be directly employed. It means there are about 400,000 people who graduate from school here every year who end up unemployed or underemployed. Michael was one of those kids, right? Michael was one of those rejects. Michael was one of those dropouts. Michael did not have hope, right? But with Kalibrr and the platform that we're building, what we want to do is tell Michael that it's no longer about the degree that you have or the degree that you don't have. It's now about your skills and using our platform to replace your degree as a proxy for who you are and what you can be, right? This is the people that we want to serve because there are jobs being created today and they want Michael, but if they are going to use existing methods of recruitment to hire Michael, Michael fail, right? And we don't just want to do this in the Philippines. We want to do it all over the world because this is a global problem. So I learned, right, from this experience that entrepreneurs, what I do today, I can not only shape the world that I live in, I can shape the world of Michael and my friends, right? What we're doing in the big picture is not building technology, but injecting hope and giving people a chance to make something of themselves here. So I'm going to show you two last photos, right? Because the story is go where you're not supposed to be, right? A kid of a 19-year-old mom, right, who had a philandering father and a grandmother who only graduated from elementary school, those kids don't get into Y Combinator, which is where we were 2 years ago, right? Next. Those kids don't end up pitching to Jaza, their startup, right, in a very tight and closed community, right? These are places that if you were to look at the trends, the data, the patterns, I am not supposed to be here. I am not supposed to be on the stage. And when I look at everyone here, you guys are probably thinking that you have a path that you're going to follow. You have a journey that you're going to do. It may have been predestined by your mom, your father, your historical bloodlines. But what I want to leave you guys with is the thought that where are you going to be at some point in the future that you're not supposed to be? Thank you.